Welcome to The Explainer. I'm stepping into the role of your senior consultant today because, frankly, we need to have a serious talk about an impending crisis in modern research and analysis. Look, as professionals integrating AI into our daily workflows, we're walking on some pretty thin ice if we don't architect our systems the right way. Today, we're going to look at exactly how to secure the scientific method and, your professional integrity against the AI reproducibility crisis. I'm going to give you the exact blueprint to fix this.
So I want you to be totally honest with yourself right now. If someone wanted to reproduce your AI analysis tomorrow, could they actually do it? Imagine you just published this brilliant piece of AI-powered analysis. It's great. But a few months later, a colleague, or worse, a reviewer, tries to replicate your exact steps, and they get entirely different results. And it's not because your science was bad, but because the AI system changed in the background, your prompts weren't meticulously saved, and you can't even recall the exact model version you used. This is the high-stakes reality we're all dealing with right now.
Okay, here's our syllabus for today. First, we'll cover the AI reproducibility crisis. Second, the core philosophy. Third, the 4 pillars of rigor. Fourth, real-world research blueprints. And finally, avoiding common AI mistakes. Let's get into it.
Section 1. The AI reproducibility crisis. The hidden flaw in modern research.
Okay, let's dive right into this. In traditional computational analysis, reproducibility is pretty straightforward, right? You share your Python script, you list your exact software versions, and literally anyone in the world can run it and get the exact same result. It's beautifully deterministic. But AI-assisted analysis completely breaks this paradigm. Large language models are updating continuously in the background. Without any warning whatsoever, a shifting model might suddenly hallucinate fake citations or just fabricate statistics where it previously worked perfectly. If you're relying on shifting models and undocumented prompts, you aren't actually doing reproducible science. You're just generating text. Let me give you a real-world example of how this fails. There was an ecology lab that used an AI model to process raw field notes into structured data, and it worked great. It performed at a very solid 92% accuracy. So they published their results and moved out to the next thing. Well, 2 years later, another lab tried to reproduce that exact same approach. But by then, the AI model had actually improved to 95% accuracy. But here's the catch. That improvement meant its behavior had subtly shifted. It was creating entirely different structured outputs from the exact same field notes. The reproduction failed completely. Now, the original lab wasn't sloppy at all, but because their primary tool changed right under their feet, their research became questionable. Section 2, the core philosophy, the mindset shift for AI rigor. So the crucial point is we absolutely must adopt this mindset. Treat your AI as a documented tool, not some magic black box. Think about undocumented AI analysis like running this chaotic magic kitchen. You just throw random ingredients together, you have zero idea what the oven temperature is, and boom, magically you get a cake. Obviously, you can't publish that. Reproducible AI analysis is about taking that chaotic magic kitchen and turning it into a precise published recipe. You need exact temperatures, specific ingredient brands, and detailed notes on how things might vary. I mean, you would never say, I used software to analyze this without actually naming the software, right? AI demands that exact same level of respect.
Section 3. The 4 pillars of rigor. Building the foundation.
Let's lock this down. Pillar 1 is version control. And I don't just mean versioning your code. You have to rigorously track your exact AI model versions. Last year's AI model is absolutely not this year's model. You need to document that you used, say, Claude 3.5 Sonnet specifically on March 19th. But it goes even further than that. You have to version your prompts. Prompt version 1.0 needs a strict changelog when it becomes version 1.1. And you've got to version the exact state of the data you actually fed into that specific prompt. Pillar 2 is comprehensive logging. You have to capture exactly what you asked the AI, the precise parameters you used, like temperature and max tokens, and the raw, complete output the AI gave you. Not just a summary of it, the whole thing. But here's the real kicker. Your logs must clearly, explicitly distinguish between what the AI suggested and the final decision that you, the human, actually made. If the AI recommended categorizing a patient's outcome one way, but your clinical judgment overrode it, that human override must be logged. Otherwise, your entire workflow is just a black box. Moving on, Pillar 3 is containerized environments. Think of a container like a digital time capsule. If you want someone to reproduce your work 3 years from now, you have to freeze your computational environment in time. Modern practice uses tools like Docker for this. A Docker file isolates the base operating system, the exact version of Python or R you used, and, crucially, the specific versions of the AI SDK libraries.
By coupling this with a simple requirements text file, anyone can boot up an identical virtual environment to the one you used, which guarantees your code runs exactly the same way.
And finally, pillar 4 is modular code structure. Please do not bury your AI prompts inside some massive, unreadable monolithic script. You need explicit, separate scripts. You have one script for data loading and validation. You have a completely separate script specifically for the AI analysis, and a third script for interpretation and visualization. This modularity is a game changer, because if a future researcher wants to test a completely different AI prompt, they only need to swap out the AI analysis script without tearing apart your entire workflow.
Section 4. Real-world research blueprints. Putting the pillars into practice.
Let's move to a real-world example and see how this builds a rock-solid workflow. This is Dr. Maria's pipeline for categorizing patient outcomes from clinical notes. Step 1. She meticulously documents her parameters. She used GPT-4, specifically the January version, with a low temperature of 0.2 to really reduce randomness. Step 2. She saves the exact text of her extraction prompt. Step 3. She manually validates a subset of the data before scaling anything up. Step 4. She locks the whole pipeline in a Docker container. And Step 5. She publishes the exact methodology, so literally anyone can audit her work.
Let's actually talk about Step 3 for a second. 94. That is the exact accuracy percentage Dr. Maria achieved when she manually verified the AI's output on a test set of 100 notes. She didn't just trust the AI blindly, right? She established a known, proven benchmark of 94% accuracy before she safely scaled her analysis up to 5,000 patient notes. She quantified the AI's reliability first. And this brilliantly illustrates our next point. Even when she let the AI categorize the vast majority of those outcomes, she built human oversight directly into the methodology. 5% of all the AI outputs were systematically spot-checked by a second human clinical expert. And when she publishes, she states this explicitly. Readers don't just have to trust the machine, they know exactly how the human experts validated the machine's work.
Here's another quick blueprint for you. Imagine a research team rapidly analyzing 200 qualitative interviews. Just look at how rigorously they version everything. The raw audio and verified transcripts are locked safely as version 1.0. The AI prompt they use to find patterns, documented as version 1.2. The entire computational environment is containerized using Python 3.11. And again, they maintain a comprehensive log of the AI's suggested codes right next to the human's final verification. If you want to run alternative analysis approaches on this data later on, this completely transparent architecture makes it incredibly easy.
Section 5. Avoiding common AI mistakes. Traps in the workflow. Now, as your consultant, I want to give you a quick checklist for evaluating task risk versus AI capability before you begin any project. These are the traps you need to avoid. First, never assume reproducibility is automatic. You just can't document this retrospectively. It has to be planned from day one. Second, and this is a big one, stop treating your prompts like disposable, ephemeral chat messages. Put them in version control. Third, never ignore AI output variability. AI is not perfectly deterministic, so document those parameters like temperature to control it. Fourth, avoid container overkill. Look, if you're doing a simple one-off task, building a massive Docker container might just be wasted overhead. Match the tool to the task. And lastly, never ever forget the human element. If you override the AI, you must log exactly why you did it, or else your final data won't match your inputs, and your colleagues are going to be completely lost.
So I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought to take back to your teams. Look at your current projects right now. What is one small step you can actually take tomorrow to make your AI workflow reproducible? Is it finally saving your prompts in a central repository? Maybe it's setting up a strict manual validation threshold. Whatever you do, don't wait for a reviewer to call out a glaring flaw in your methodology. Take control of your workflow today. Build the blueprint and secure the integrity of your work. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you next time.